What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Uh, Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on. I've been thinking about like some of the players that are in these NBA playoffs, right? And out of these guys, who really needs who needs to really win a championship to help their legacy, right? Like who needs this championship the most? And and these are the four names that came up, who I thought of. You got Jimmy Butler, right? Like how much would a championship help out Jimmy Butler's legacy? People call him Jimmy playoff Jimmy. Jimmy has been very aggressive, and Jimmy Butler got the Miami Heat to the championship in the bubble. And so Jimmy Butler get a lot of credit for the way he has played. And everybody know that Jimmy Butler desperately wants to win a championship. And but do Jimmy Butler really need to win a championship to to really like submit his legacy to make him really look, to complete his legacy, basically, right? So I thought Jimmy Butler was one of the players I thought that need a legacy, need this championship to help his legacy. Then you got Donovan Mitchell, right? Donovan Mitchell played for the Utah Jazz, and people saying that Donovan Mitchell really can't get his team over the hump. Right now, they're in the playoffs against the Indiana Pacers, and Indiana is having their way with them. I think they're down 2-0. So, do Donovan Mitchell, in your opinion, is Donovan Mitchell the one who needs a championship the most to help his legacy? Then who else we got in here besides those two? Then we have Jalen Brunson, right? Jalen Brunson, New York, man. New York, he's been performing very well in New York. And the last 2 years, he had the Knicks in the playoffs. And right now, they up 2-0 on the Celtics. And Jalen Brunson is playing out of his mind. He's really at the offensive end. He's just strapped the Knicks on his back, and he's carrying them. Some people are saying that Jalen Brunson is the greatest Knick, the New York Knick ever, man. Like this city is New York City is really, or New York Knicks fans are really loving this guy. Like they saying, like I said, the greatest Knick ever. And so that's another candidate. Then we come down to Anthony Edwards, right? Anthony Edwards, young ball player, for the I said for Denver, for the Minnesota Timberwolves, a young ball player. And I think that Anthony Edwards has made his team very competitive for the last few years. And you know, I don't think he needs a championship as much as like the rest of these guys on this, because he is so young in his career. But I think sooner or later, people are going to, if he keeps falling short, like if he don't get it done this year, then I think people will start to say, he needs this championship, right? So if Anthony Edwards was to get a championship this year, then I think it'll be good. It'll go a long way to quieting his so-called critics and detractors. But if he don't get it this year, people are going to start talking, and his detractors are going to get really loud. But fortunately for him, he's a young ball player, so, and he'll have more opportunities. And I believe that Minnesota Timberwolves will continue to build around Anthony Edwards. So out of the four candidates, I think Anthony Edwards, he needs this championship less than anybody else out of those four, out of these four candidates. And the next person I think that needs this championship less than anybody else is Jalen Brunson, right? I think Jalen Brunson he been with the Knicks for like 3 years, and every year Jalen Brunson get them into the playoffs. Um, And I mean, like I said, he playing with all kinds of heart. He playing out of his mind. The New York Knicks team management, they're doing everything that they can do to put the kind of players around Jalen Brunson so they can be successful. So from a standpoint that, from that standpoint, I like what the Knicks are doing. And but I think like he don't need a championship, in my opinion, right now. As much as much as Jimmy Butler and Donovan Mitchell. So like if Brunson falls short this year, you're going to have some people that are going to be detractors from Brunson, but he still have time. He's still a relatively young ball player. And New Yorkers and Knicks fans, they forever hopeful anyway. So I think and they loyal fans. Like if they see you playing all out like this team, like the Knicks and Brunson do, they see you going all out like this, they're gonna stick with you. Just like they went back in Patrick Ewing days, they stuck with Patrick Ewing. Like Patrick, you know, I never really could recall like Patrick Ewing really getting drugged by New York Knicks fans. It's like every year, New York Knicks fans, they was like, this the year Patrick gonna be able to get us over the hump. It's just that Patrick Ewing ran into that dude named Mike. Other than that, you know, um, New York fans just remain hopeful. So I don't think New York fans really going to drag Brunson, especially with the way he playing. I mean, he giving them everything, and they up right now. They're beating the Celtics in that series. They're leading the series 2-0. So I don't think Jalen Brunson really needs a right now. Later on down the line, he might catch a little criticism, but I don't think so. Now, the player I think who lead number three, the third person I think needs this less. I think Jimmy Butler. You know, most people, even though they call him playoff Jimmy, and then Jimmy Butler has led the Miami Heat to the championship when they lost in that bubble to the Lakers. Most people don't really see Jimmy Butler as being a franchise player or the number one. I ain't gonna say a franchise player, but they don't see Jimmy Butler as being the number one. They see him for like playing the role of like what he's playing on Golden State. So his role on Golden State is what people see him being, like a strong number two, or a third option in scoring, tough defense, sort of like Klay Thompson was with the when he was with the Golden State Warriors. Like most of the criticism was on Steph Curry and not Klay Thompson. And I think that's the position that Jimmy Butler finds himself in. Like Jimmy Butler is more so somebody who's the number two. So if he get a championship, that'd be great. I know just from listening to interviews and stuff like that, Jimmy Butler really, he really wants a championship, man. He gonna go all out and give you everything he can get to get that championship. But I don't think I don't think that'll really destroy his legacy if he just so happened to fall short. You know, um, so Jimmy Butler, I will put him number 3 on this list. But the person, in my opinion, who really need this championship more so than anybody on here, and let me know if you all disagree, is Donovan Mitchell. Because Donovan Mitchell, just like Jalen Brunson, just like Anthony Edwards, he's a number one. He's the leader, right? He was the leader when he was in Utah, and people say couldn't get him over the hump. And now that he is in Cleveland, he is the leader. He's the guy that everybody is looking. He's supposed to be the number one, that piece that can get you over the hump, who can get you, a basket coming down a stretch to win a game. So I think if Donovan Mitchell do not get a championship, I think there'll be a lot of fallout, and people are already talking about he can't get him over the hump. So there'll definitely be a lot of fallout when it comes to Donovan Mitchell. And like I said, of these 4 guys, I think Donovan Mitchell needs this championship the most. To to cement his legacy. Jimmy Butler needed, like I said, Anthony Edwards needed the least, and then you got Jalen Brunson. Jimmy Butler probably the third one, coming in second behind Donovan Mitchell. But Donovan Mitchell gotta have his championship, or he gotta get a championship before he retires. So that's that's the order I have him in. I got from least to most. The person who needed the least right now, Anthony Edwards. Then you got Jalen Brunson. Then you have Jimmy Butler. But the one who needed the most is Donovan Mitchell. I think a championship would really it'll quiet down some of the naysayers, and then it'll change some people's perspective of Donovan Mitchell. And so he needs this the most out of all these guys on this list. And that's my take on it. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, leave a comment. Let me know who you think needs this championship out of these four people. Like, who needs this the most out of these four people? Some people might feel it's Brunson, because he's a Knick. And those Knicks, Knicks fans just put a lot of pressure on you. Some people may think it's Jimmy Butler. Some people might think it's Anthony Edwards because he's a number one, young and upcoming. But yeah, let me know what you think, man. I'm interested to see what y'all think about who needs this championship the most. And with that being said, I'll check you all out on the next video.